Good day, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. So, in today's episode, we're going to take a look at the ongoing conflict inside of the former state of Ethiopia. Fighting continues, very heavy fighting continues south of Weldia. Actually, we are now looking at Tigray Defense Forces unit pushing past the town of Hayek and pressing towards the twin towns of Dese and Kombolcha. It would appear that units of the Tigrayan Defense Forces are looking at a three-pronged advance towards the city of Dese. There is a column of forces moving to the west, to the east, and a center attack line as well. And it would appear that the strategy, the current strategy of the Tigrayan Defense Forces is like it has done with other cities such as Weldia and Kobo, is to envelop the town of Dese. Now, will this be a dual envelopment in terms of besieging both Dese and Kombolcha, or will they shoot the Kombolcha-Dese gap and look to encircle Dese through that strategy? Not sure at this point. Pushing forces in between Kombolcha and Dese would open up the Tigrayan Defense Forces, the column that would move in the direction of the east side of Dese to possible attacks by Amhara paramilitary units and ENDF units based in the city of Kombolcha to its flank. So it is possible we could, in fact, see a double envelopment strategy of both cities and laying siege to possibly both cities and looking to, at some point, force their way into both Desi and Kombolcha at the same time. We're also hearing reports that heavy weapons are being moved up in preparation of this operation. So we could see heavy artillery units, rockets, tanks, armored fighting vehicles possibly pressing its attack on these two cities. The ability to place heavy guns within several miles of these cities will be fairly important to call in artillery fire support missions. And that is suspected to occur within the next 4 days to a week in terms of those forces being placed in position and the envelopment of possibly these two towns. But we'll have to wait and see and get a better picture of what's going on in the ground in the next several days. It would also appear that the Ethiopian military sustained significant losses, including, and this is very important, some of its more elite units, such as the Republican Guard and Commando units that have been utilized in other areas of the conflict as more of a fire brigade type of unit that acts in a supporting role with the largely very low trained semi-conscripts that are being deployed by the Ethiopian forces, and those forces as well have suffered fairly significant casualties. But we have verified video footage of weapons of the Republican Guards and these higher echelon units that have been engaged by the Tigrayan Defense Forces. And we have seen captured personnel, we have seen captured headgear, we have seen captured weapons of these forces that have been engaged by the Tigrayan Defense Forces in the vicinity of both Dese and further towards the northwest in Gashina. We understand now that Gashina is under the control of the Tigrayan Defense Forces, And again, the Ethiopian army, the Amhara paramilitaries, have been defeated in zone in this area and have been pushed back. The counteroffensive that was attempted by the Ethiopian military, which could also be defined as a stopgap operation, an operation to try and conduct a limited counterattack while using that limited counterattack as to prevent a further advance of the Tigrayan Defense Forces, appears to have failed. And it would appear that the TDF is now moving forward again. We continue to see video footage of very large columns and very large bodies of Tigrayan Defense Forces heading in a southwesterly direction towards targets deeper in the Amhara region. And clearly the Tigrayan Defense Forces continue to create strategic depth. And at some point, is it possible the TDF will stop and start drawing up lines for possible defensive operation? Yes, that could actually occur at some point. And again, that is most likely one of the reasons for this operation was to create that strategic depth in case of another counteroffensive by the Ethiopian military. So at some point, if the Ethiopian military decide to make another advance on the Tigray region, then that strategic depth is in place, and the Ethiopian military and the Amhara militias are now fighting on their own territory versus fighting inside of the Tigray region. Obviously the other mission of the TDF at this point is to create enough pressure to release the hold of Western Tigray and quite possibly continue to press towards significant targets such as Bahir Dar, Gondar, and even Addis Ababa. But it would appear that we have discussed the major battles that have been going on for the last 7+ days southwest of Weldia. It would appear initially that the Tigrayan Defense Forces have experienced a victory and continue its march again south and southwest. We are receiving other reports in the Afar region that units of the Tigrayan Defense Forces may have pressed within artillery range and rocket fire range within the town of Samara, and that this town and its air base, as you can see on my map, was being utilized to launch possible drone reconnaissance flights and possible actual drone strikes from this town. And again, we're hearing that the TDF had gotten close enough to launch actual artillery and rocket attacks against this airbase and may have destroyed a drone operating station and may have damaged the airbase to some extent with indirect rocket and artillery fire. The operation continues. What we see, the Tigrayan Defense Forces continue to press forward and possibly take control of the town of Samara. We will have to wait and see. There does appear to be an element, while not as obviously strong as the force that is advancing towards Dese and the forces that are advancing from north to south towards Gondar. That is a much more significant force than the force that has invaded the Afar region, but the forces of the TDF that have committed itself to the Afar region appear to have gotten at least within artillery range of Samara and have launched a possible attack on that airbase. But we will continue to monitor that operation and report if we can actually confirm that some of these drone operating stations were in fact destroyed by the TDF. But right now, really the most significant area of operations is what is going on near Dese. We could see heavy fighting start to take place either within the environments of Dese or actually inside of Dese at some point as the TDF continues to move closer to targeting that town and seizing control of it. But again, we will continue to monitor the situation and report. Again, the fighting continues in the Oromia region as well, with the Oromo Liberation Army continuing to be very active, seizing towns and just really creating havoc for the Ethiopian state. Another line item is the economic loss by the Ethiopian state is said to be exceeding now $1 billion. Yep, $1 billion in losses because of the ongoing conflict inside of the former state of Ethiopia and its invasion of the Tigray region. This is going to have a significant future impact that will start to be felt by even people in Addis Ababa, obviously, with inflation starting to creep up and just the economy on the possible verge at some point of collapsing as economic investment into the region begins to stall because obviously it is an active war zone. But again, we will continue to monitor the situation and report to everyone. Have a great day.